Good afternoon, football fans. Welcome back into another episode of Anything Football. I am your host, Chris, or if you want to be slightly more daring, you can call me Coach Chris. That would be awesome. I'm pretty sure now if you're watching this video, you're seeing the background stuff and everything back here. Ignore all that, okay? Yes, the TV's on back there because I am broadcasting from an unusual place, one of my bedrooms here. You can see there in the background Gronk being interviewed on TV. So don't let that distract you. I am getting more familiar with how all this works, making videos, and eventually the background will change to something a little more appropriate. I'm still very novice. I spent a lot of the weekend trying to learn all this stuff. I'm not really that savvy when it comes to all this, so it's a slow process, but I promise you that eventually as time goes on, the quality of the video will get better. The things that I want to show you on here, I will be able to do. For right now, though, you get to just look at my lovely face and talk about whatever you want. So, being that this is Anything Football, I know I did say in the last few videos I did that we were going to eventually cover the Super Bowl. And what I mean covering the Super Bowl is we're going to talk about Tampa Bay, Kansas City, give you my predictions, how I think the game's going to go down, and ultimately who I think is going to win, and give you my little take on that. And again, this is just my opinions on here. Again, I don't claim to be all-knowing or that my way is the only way or I'm always right. I look at what I see and I give my thoughts on it. So these videos aren't meant to piss you off. And if they do, well, that's on you. That's an issue, not an ish-me. So, having said that, I thought about what I was going to talk today, and I figured, well, I might as well talk about why my hometown team, the Buffalo Bills, pretty much got spanked last week in the AFC Championship game. Again, these are my opinions. I could be wrong. I'm just saying that, from what I saw, I have a real hard problem accepting the fact that we got beat. To me, losing a game is one thing. When you make it easier for another team, you're adding to their winning, you're making them look better than they really are. You can tell, okay? You can just tell. It's like I always say, it goes back to, emotion and the eye test. You could just see that they just were not doing what they should have done. Their game plan, I think ultimately their game plan was what did them in. So first of all, if anybody didn't watch the game, I'd encourage you to go back and watch it, especially if you're a Bills fan, because I am a Bills fan, yes. I did say I would talk about Buffalo Bills more than a lot. But go back and watch the game and see for yourself, and you'll see exactly what I'm talking about. Having said that, I want to start with the offense. Now, if you watched the game, you saw that the offense really didn't amount to anything. They really couldn't move the ball. They only scored, they scored garbage points later in the game in the late fourth quarter, but, for the most part, they only had like 10 points, I believe. But offensively, Kansas City, I think, did a great job taking our best weapons away. Number one is they double covered Stephon Diggs, okay, all game. They rotated their double coverages on John Brown and on Cole Beasley. In my opinion, who or what was determined who was going to get double covered between Brown and Beasley, determined on down and distance, formation. I think Kansas City does a great job doing film study and having a great job game planning. But they rotated their coverage. They did play some cover 2. At times they played cover 1. What they did do, though, was on first and second down, they did double cover 2 receivers. And they sat back. Their linebackers played a zone. And then on third down, again, they locked everybody up. And then they blitzed the hell out of us. But again, they didn't play zone. They played man on, okay? Because you can double cover a receiver and still play man. They played bump and run. They were right up on the line of scrimmage. They were jamming our receivers at the line of scrimmage, forcing our guys, having a fight to get off the line. And they were bringing heavy pressure. Now, at times, their front four on the defense was getting to us. For most of the game, their front four was getting to our quarterback and putting pressure on, and then they would blitz on third down. And we had a hard time adjusting to that. We didn't do anything to max protect. I think the fact that Zach Moss wasn't in the game limited our running capability. Devin Singletary is a good running back, but Devin Singletary is not a between the tackles kind of runner. He is outside the tackles, around the ends type runner. You got to get him in an open space where he's more effective. So that means screens, some off-tackle runs, some sweeps, whatever, little flare-outs. But defensively, they manhandled our receivers. And they basically sat there and said, you know what, we don't think you can run on us. We're going to take away the passing game, and we're going to force you to try to run the ball. And that's what they did. Now, the problem I have with that is when you're doing something that isn't working, you got to find something that does work. And screens were there a lot all day because of the pressure they were putting on. They only threw, I think, maybe like 2 screens. Yeah, they tried throwing deep, but when you're sending one receiver downfield deep, it makes it harder, or it makes it easier, actually, for the defense to cover that because you got a safety over the top. You're running your receivers underneath. The outside flats were there. Our receivers were dropping a lot of balls. That was a problem. But the thing that stood out was Kansas City did not let them run all over the field. They manhandled them. They jammed them at the line. They had a hand on them the whole game. If you go back and listen to Tony Romo tell you that he called it sticky hands. All those corners, even a linebacker, had a hand on a receiver the whole time, which made it very hard for the receivers to get their routes and to get open. Something I think we should have done. And I'll get to our defense in a few minutes here. But Dawson Knox really was ineffective. We didn't utilize him enough. Not that he would have, been the tipping point in us for winning the game. Dawson Knox is a good tight end, but we definitely need to go out and find a Travis Kelce or Tony Gonzalez or Gronkowski. We need one of those tight ends. The tight end we have now, he's okay. He's decent, but he lacks in speed. The offensive line really, really disappointed me. They really struggled in giving time for Allen to throw the football, forcing Allen to kind of revert back to how he was his first year and second year in the league, making silly mistakes, taking long sacks. It was just, their defense was just ready for us, bottom line. They took everything away from us, and it seemed like offensively we had no adjustment. Brian Daboll, I don't know what his game plan was. I mean, I'm pretty sure he wanted to mix in more of the run with the pass. But, when you were dominating for 8 weeks, 10 weeks, the way the Bills were with the passing game, you tend to get a little cocky and think to yourself, well, we're just going to go out and do what we do. We put the game on the shoulders of Josh Allen, and unfortunately, Josh Allen, couldn't deliver. Let's just put it that way. He couldn't deliver. They took Stephon Diggs. And I think the biggest thing I got the problem with the offense is you've got a fast offense in Kansas City and you got a somewhat fast defense in Kansas City. You got probably one of the best safeties in Tyrann Mathieu. Why did it take so long for them to get Isaiah McKenzie into the fold? He's fast. He's got speed. Get him out there. Send 2 receivers downfield vertically, especially when they're in cover 1. Max protect and go deep. Instead of sending 1 receiver, send 2. The intermediate stuff. Cole Beasley is not a deep threat. he is a short to intermediate receiver. Well, they had a guy on Beasley, and they had their linebackers dropping back. So, hey, get McKenzie in there more often, and not just using him for end arounds or trick plays. Put him out there at receiver. He didn't show up until I think like the third quarter, and I was like, where was this guy the whole first half? I think the fact that Gabriel Davis was injured, he wasn't in the game for the most part, not that I remember, but I think he was a big factor too, because he's a very good third receiver, number 3 receiver. I know he wasn't healthy, and I think the fact that he really didn't play a factor in this game, and not having Zach Moss. Offensively, you were just looking, the only really targets you could go to were Diggs and Knox and Beasley at times. And when you're down to 3 receivers, you're limited as to what you can do. Singletary, for some reason, obviously he couldn't catch the ball coming out of the backfield, so we weren't going to throw him the ball. But you got all this speed, and we didn't utilize it. And I think that was the biggest reason why we offensively couldn't score. We couldn't seem to expose openings in their defense. However, it is what it is. There's so many things you can do on offense. There's so many things you can do on offense that I just think we didn't take full advantage of. Not having McKenzie out there most of the game, Gabriel Davis not being healthy, missing Zach Moss, they all played a factor in why offensively we struggled. But watching the game, I was okay offensively because I thought, all right, well, defensively we should be okay. At least slow them down. That was my phone, by the way. At least slow them down. Defensively, it was disgusting. And I'm more defensive guy than I am an offensive guy. Even though when I played on both sides. Defensively, that was probably the worst game plan we had all season. I don't know what their thinking was. But it was the same game plan they had in week 6. So, 2 things I got a problem with that. Number 1 is, when you study the film, you're going to go back to week 6 and watch the film on Kansas City. Well, guess what? They're doing the same thing you're doing. They're going to go back and they're going to look at week 6 game film, and they're going to prepare for that type of defense. But they're also going to prepare for something different, because that's what you do when you're a good team. You don't just assume that what you saw previously in the regular season is what you're going to see in the playoffs. Now, you're in the freaking playoffs, okay? You're supposed to come up with something different. You're supposed to have a couple new looks, a couple new plays, trick plays, whatever you want to call it. Defensively, you're supposed to come up with some different schemes, some different pass coverages. We did none of that. What we did is we sat back in our typical 43 cover 2, and we played a soft zone. Soft zone meaning the linebackers were a yard or 2 back farther than they usually are. The corners are not rolled up on the receivers. They're off the ball. And the safety and free safeties are back just a little bit. It's a soft zone. It's basically saying, we're going to give you the underneath stuff because we hope that going down the field, when we get into the red zone, we're going to stop you and maybe hold you to a field goal. I've never been a zone kind of guy. I think playing zone sucks. To me, especially in a soft zone, there are different types of zone coverages you can play. But to me, a soft zone is nothing more than a bend. It's a prevent defense, basically. A bend, don't break. Well, we broke, and it showed. And the problem I have with soft zone is when you got speed, when you're going against speed, Travis Kelce's fast, Tyreek Hill, one of the fastest receivers, if not the fastest receiver in the league, Pringle, Hardman, not to mention the running backs that need speed. You got fast receivers. Okay? And when you're playing a zone and you are freely letting their receivers off the line and running into their patterns, you're not going to cover these guys. You can't keep up. They should have known that. I mean, you really think Kelsey coming across the middle, Edmonds is going to pick him up and be able to cover him? No. Because he's covering the middle in his zone where he's supposed to be. He's looking, turns around. Oh, here's Kelsey. Whoop, there goes Kelsey. That's how fast it happens. Especially with Hill and Hardman. They exposed this defense playing that zone. They were opening and finding the open areas, which were the hook to curl areas. That's where majority of their passes were going to. Know why? Because their outside linebackers, Milano, who is good, and Epinesa, they're supposed to drop back to their hook to curl zones. Now, I don't have the display of what a cover 2 looks like in a zone coverage. I can't put it up here because, like I said, I'm new to this. I'm novice. Eventually, I'll be able to get this up here and I'll be able to show it to you firsthand. But for all you football gurus, you know what I'm talking about, okay? In a cover 2 zone, the two safeties have deep halves. Your corners have flats. Your outside linebackers have hook to curl. Your middle linebacker has the middle. Now, some defenses are different. Some will say have the corners drop back to the hook to curls and have the outside linebackers play the flats, but it's very seldom seen like that. But what was happening was Milano and Epinesa were dropping back to their hook to curl, but now they're drifting off into the flat. They're getting out of their zone coverage. So what happened with Edmonds in the middle? They're just finding that soft zone area wide open. Kelsey, Hill, they're just sitting right there where the hook to curl is because there's nobody there. The safeties have dropped back. And by the time, and Mahomes just delivered the ball, they're getting 7 to 8 to 10 yards of crack every time with those short passes because our guys were getting out of position. I'm going to be honest with you. Edmonds, not a good season in my opinion. I look to him to be the leader and one of the better defensive players on the team, and he had a quiet season, and especially in this game. He did not do much. He had a hard time covering anybody. Kelsey's coming across the middle, crosses his face. Crosses right across his face, and he stands there. Kelsey catches the ball 5 yards from him, and then he wants to move because he's too busy staring at Mahomes. Now, maybe he was used in a spy fashion. I don't know. Maybe he was. Maybe they told him, "Hey, we want you to follow Mahomes or the running back. You know, make sure they don't run." But when you're playing zone, your first responsibility is playing the pass. Okay, zone is when you got a receiver coming into a zone and going through other zones. It's a handoff. It's a transformation. A corner covers him in the flats. If he's coming across the middle, the corner hands him off to the outside linebacker. If he keeps running, the outside linebacker passes him off to the middle linebacker. You have your zone that you're supposed to cover. Anybody that comes into your zone, you are supposed to pick up. None of our linebackers did that. Our outside linebackers, like I said, were going too far out of their zones. And Edmonds stood in the middle looking dumbfounded. They didn't kill us deep. I mean, they tried going deep, but they didn't kill us deep. Because we were so busy, and that's what scared us. That's why we played that soft zone. We were so busy worrying about getting beat deep. That, guess what? They didn't throw deep. And they didn't beat us deep. Play action, pulled the linebackers up, and then they hit Kelsey over the top or Hill over the top in the middle because there's where the exposure was. Everything between the hashes was wide open for them because we played this soft zone that I cannot stand. I cannot stand zone. When you're a defense, how do you take away speed? You say, well, they got fast receivers. They got, they're fast across the board. There's no question about that. And I've already stated that. All 4 of their receivers are fast, if you're including Kelsey. And Watkins wasn't even a factor in the game. I didn't even remember if he played or not. But how do you take away speed? Jam him at the line. My defensive game plan, and again, this is my opinion. I'm not saying that I'm right. I'm just saying this is what I would have done. I would have lived or died by the blitz. I would have double covered Kelsey. I would have played press coverage, man on man. Maybe have a safety deep, cover one. But I would have had all those corners up on the line, those DBs up on the line in their faces, jamming them, and making it hard for them to get off the line to get into their pass routes, which causes more time delay, which is less time Mahomes has to throw the ball. Now, the problem with that, though, was our defensive line couldn't get any pressure on Mahomes. This is what happens when you trade away your best defensive tackles. Now, Ed Oliver still has a lot to do. He still has a lot of work ahead of him. He's going to be good. But you need another heavy tackle, and we definitely need a defensive end, a pass rusher of a J.J. Watt or a T.J. Watt or a Bosa, any of the Bosas. We need, or the guy that plays for Washington now. I can't remember his name. We need a good rushing defensive end that can get to the quarterback. Sometimes we blitz, but it was the same guy blitzing. We didn't bring any corner blitzes off. We didn't bring any outside linebacker. We blitzed the same guys all the time. They're prepared for it. When you're doing the same thing, it's redundancy. When you're doing the same thing over and over again, and it's the same thing that teams have seen, they're ready for it. What's the definition of insanity? Doing the same thing over and over again, expecting different results. That's what we did. We made it easy for them. We said we're going to play the same way we played in week 6. I would have pressed the hell out of them. I would have jammed them at the line of scrimmage as best we could, kept one safety deep, and take my chances and blitz the hell out of Mahomes. Bringing blitzes from all different areas, not just the same type of blitz. I might blitz Edmonds up the middle. I might bring Poyer or whoever off the corner, having the safety drift over to pick up that guy. I would have brought double blitzes. I would have blitzed one guy at a time. I would have brought blitzes from everywhere. But the key thing what I would have done was press these receivers, especially Kelsey and Hill. Get in their faces, jam them at the line, because they did it to us. And if people are sitting there saying, "Oh no, we couldn't do that, we couldn't do that," BS. That's bull, because they did it to us. You watch, you go back. There's a play. They show a replay of Knox coming off the line and doing a drag route. Not only does the corner that's on him get a piece of him coming off the line, the outside linebacker chips at him, the middle linebacker chips at him, and it's not until he clears to the other side that he eventually becomes opened. 3 guys hit him, though. After the second half, after the halftime, yeah, I think we played more man, but we didn't play press. We didn't play bump and run. And there was a play there, if you go back, Tyron Johnson is on Tyreek Hill, about 3 yards off of him. Right from the line, Hill just runs a quick drag over the middle. Just boom, right out of his slot position, runs a drag. Tyron doesn't even get a hand on him. Not that he couldn't. Didn't even try. He just let him go scot-free into his route. They threw it to Hill, and I think that's when Hill broke off his 70-yard run. Not a single hand on him. Not whatsoever. The best way to take away speed on an offense is to take away their speed by getting in their face and jamming them at the line and holding them up as long and as best you can, and then you do your damnedest to stay with them. If you get beat deep, you get beat deep. But don't play a defense where you have they have all the speed in the world, and they're running scot-free in the secondary that you can't cover or keep up with, and Mahomes is just dink and dunk, intermediate short passes. They're going to kill you up and down the field, which is what they did. That's my take on it. I mean, that's really ultimately what it came down to, was our defense was just terrible. Front 4 could not sustain any pressure on Mahomes. I don't even think we sacked him at all. We couldn't sustain any pressure on him because we don't have a good defensive line other than maybe Oliver. I don't think, what's his name was out there, defensive end. I can't remember his name. But it'll come to me. But we did nothing defensively. We did nothing to slow them down. Because when people want to play zone, when defenses want to play zone or coaches want to play zone, they figure, well, it hides, my phone's going crazy here. They figure it hides our scheme. You know, it confuses quarterbacks because they don't know if we're going to blitz. They don't know, if we're playing zone, if we're going to play man. They think that's BS. If you're a good quarterback like Mahomes, you know exactly what they're running. You study film, you know exactly what they're running. And they had nothing different for them. That was the problem. They had nothing different. No safety blitzes, no corner blitzes, no linebacker blitzes. So you help that team look better than they really are. And I'm not saying Kansas City's not good. They're clearly good. 25-1, yeah, they're really good. And I thought Buffalo wasn't going to win this game going into it, but my problem is you made it easier for them than it should have been. I don't have a problem losing. Well, yeah, I got a problem losing the football game, but if we were going to lose, go down swinging. I don't think we did that. I think we went down. We came out with a game plan they have already seen and have already prepared for. And, if you're Mahomes, you're sitting there licking your lips going, hey, this is, I'm going to have a field day here. And I don't want to hear, well, we couldn't do this, we couldn't do BS, because the Kansas City defense did it to us. All right? They had our receivers jammed up. They had their guys all over our receivers. We didn't get a hand on our receivers until we were tackling them. So I don't want to hear we couldn't do it. All right? You find a way to do it. Again, in my defensive opinion, the best way you take away speed is to jam the receivers at the line and take your chances. I'd rather get beat blitzing than to sit back and play a soft zone and let their speed expose us and get made to look like a jackass, which is basically what happened. So yeah, that's my take on, that's the short gist on why I think Buffalo lost Saturday, or Sunday it was. I still think this is a good team. I think they're going to be a force to be reckoned with in the AFC going forward. But taking away this game, what I take away from it is we need a better tight end. Maybe a running back. I don't know. I don't know. Zach Moss, Singletary, they're a nice combo. I'm not sure. I think Gabriel Davis is going to be really good for us. As far as John Brown is concerned, I don't know. I think I'm ready to say goodbye to him. I would rather go out and draft another fast receiver in the draft. But, time will tell. Defensively, though, I don't know whose contracts are up, who's a free agent this year, whatever. But no question, we need a pass rusher, a defensive end, and we definitely need an outside linebacker because I like Milano, I like Edmonds, Epinesa. You are the weakest link. Bye-bye. You're gone. I like our secondary. I think we got a good secondary. Edmonds has to step up more. He's got to be more of a factor in the game. And he was pretty much nullified and quiet the whole time. And he had a quiet season. He had a very quiet season. Yeah, it's a tough spot to play middle linebacker. I know, I played it. But, you got to get your ass in there and get nasty. He seems to play hesitant, and he's got to be nasty in there. But and you know what? I think that's what we need. We need a pass rushing defensive end. We need another outside linebacker. I don't know what Jerry Hughes' status is, if he's retiring or whatnot, but definitely need those two things on defense. I think that'll help us out. Milano, I think, is good. Edmonds, I'm starting to get on the fence with Edmonds. I'm not sure what he's going to bring next year. Secondary, I think we're going to be okay if we can keep Poyer and I'm having a mental block here. Got Tre'Davious White, Poyer, Micah Hyde. If we can keep those guys, I think we'll be all right. I really do. We're not that far off, people, but, when you're missing one or two key components on defense, you get exposed, and you get exposed really bad. You can see the drastic change from last year's defense to this year's defense. When you sacrifice size up front for speed, not good. Not good. We need to get bigger up front. We need to get fast on the ends, and we need to start getting after quarterbacks. That should be their primary focus going into the draft. So, and I love Leslie Frazier. He is a great defensive coach, but this is probably why he doesn't get a head coaching job, because he is what I consider a lot of the coaches in the NFL regular season coaches. Okay, they can get you to the playoffs, but they can't get you into the Super Bowl. For some reason, when it comes to championship games, they just don't have it. They don't have it. But again, these are my opinions. I might be wrong. I might be right. Who's to say? But I wanted to give my take on that because as a Bills fan, here in Buffalo, New York, it pains me to see them get their ass kicked the whole game, and it's not for lack of effort. I don't really think it was a lack of effort. I think it was more of just the game plan as a whole was just bad from start to finish. It was just bad, and it was the first time that I saw a Buffalo Bills team coming out in the second half with no adjustments whatsoever. So, having said that, again, this is my third video. I'm happy to have started this video, doing this YouTube channel. This is cool. I get to talk to people. Well, not talk to people, but I get to make my comments, voice my opinions. Again, the quality of these videos are going to get better. I'm going to start introducing more and more stuff that you'll be able to see on the screen. Pretty much anything you expect on a YouTube channel. But I'm still a novice, so I'm learning as I go. But again, if you like this, if you don't like it, whatever, I appreciate you viewing it. I'm starting to get some more and more views. What I need is more likes, and I need more subscribes. So if you like it, hit the like button, smash the subscribe button. Help me out, my friends and family that are out there listening, and anybody else out there that wants to make a comment or like it. You know what to do. The whole YouTube routine. If you want to leave a comment, leave a comment. Again, you can find me on Facebook, Chris Gallivan, Gallivan. If you want to tweet at me, tweet at Chris Gallivan5. And tell me, say, hey, your video sucked or was good, or what the content of the video, whatever you want to discuss, whatever you want to talk to me about. Let me know. Friday, we will break down the Super Bowl. I will try to have some stats for you, what I think their game plan is going into the game, what quarterback I think is going to prevail or team is going to prevail. As far as quarterbacks, who's going to have the better day. So I will have all that for you on Friday. So if you like, you can. I don't stream live, not yet. So this is all pre-recorded. So, but it will be posted on Friday. I post these as soon as I'm done recording them. So I hope you tune in. I hope more subscribers and more listeners and viewers come in and they like what I have to offer. Again, this is Anything Football. We will get into anything football from high school all the way up to NFL. Now that the Buffalo Bills are done, we basically are going to cover the Super Bowl, and then after the Super Bowl, we're going to switch our attention to the draft and the combine, and we're going to talk a little college, players coming out of college that I think might be a good fit for Buffalo, for other teams, and we're going to cover all that. And obviously with this pandemic coming up, as I said, I am a football coach for a local high school, so I don't know how much time I'm going to have to do these videos. I'm going to do these videos as much as I can. But with the pandemic, I guess New York State is allowing us to have a spring season, which will be a first. So I don't know how much of my time will be taken away from that, but we will. I definitely will be doing as many videos of this as I can. So I'm having fun doing this. I will get everything, the video quality, everything will be up to par eventually, sooner or later. Having said that, though, I want to thank you guys for watching. Again, if you like what I have, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, and leave a comment for me. Let me know what you think. Other than that, enjoy the rest of your week. For those of you up here in New York, it is snowing. I know the eastern seaboard is getting smashed with snow, so stay safe, stay healthy, and enjoy the rest of your week, and take care. Bye-bye.